Hello friends, thank you for tuning in today. All of these things that you see on my desk are about to get put into the envelopes and sent to the post office. And while I was doing this, I decided I would go ahead and do a quick video and show you how to make this card. So I'm very excited to be using the Ocean Friends stamp set and also the coordinating paper that goes with this. And you might already be familiar with a pop-up matchbook card, but I was not. I'm telling you, there are millions of ideas out there, and so sometimes ones just get past you, and this is certainly one that has gotten past me. I have seen it on YouTube in lots of different ways from even several years back. But this is new to me, and I'm sharing my version with you today. So what you're going to need if you're copying my card, otherwise, of course, you can trade out your colors and materials and so forth. What I'm using is a Melon Mambo card base. This piece measures 3 3/4 inches by 9 3/4 inches, and I have scored it at 5 1/4 inches. So that is ready to go. Then I have a piece of white cardstock that measures 3 1/2 inches by 9 1/4 inches, and we're going to score this one at 5 inches. All right, so I'm making sure that my cutting blade is out of the way, and I'm using my scoring blade. Or you could use your Simply Scored scoring tool if you have that handy. So that one is scored at 5 inches. All right, now we also have a piece that is, this is Melon Mambo again. This piece is 2 1/2 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and I have scored it at 1 1/4 inches. All right, so that is that piece ready to go. My designer series paper looks like this. My main piece is 3 1/2 inches by 4 1/4, and in this instance, you want to make sure it's your 3 1/2 inches that goes across, 4 1/4 up and down, and this is the direction that the paper is going to sit in. And then I have a coordinating piece from that same designer series paper packet. This piece is 1 inch by 4 inches. All right, now the final piece that I'm going to show you it goes with the card that I'm making, but you might not need this piece once you get to that step. So you'll see what I mean when I get there. But if you're copying this card exactly, you need a piece of colored cardstock, 1 1/4 inches by 2 1/2. I'm using Summer Splash, and I did already run this through Soft Waves 3D embossing folder. Let me show you that. Okay, that looks like this, and you can decide if you want your waves going this way or this way. I actually did some of each when I was doing a lot of these cards. So that's this piece, and like I said, watch when we get to that point because you might not need this piece at all, or you might substitute this out for a piece of designer series paper. Okay, we've got that Melon Mambo piece, and it's ready to go. Now we're going to prepare the white piece that is going to go inside it, and just note for your mind that the longer portion of the card is actually the top and the shorter portion of the card is the bottom. Okay, so just kind of get that straight. It's actually going to open like this. Okay, so we're going to set aside our Melon Mambo cardstock, and we're dealing with this white piece. Now what you're going to do is go ahead and fold it on the score line. Then we're going to take that folded edge and we're going to make some slits here. Again, it's going to be on the folded edge. So I'm taking the folded edge, putting it inside my trimmer. And I'm going to put the left edge of the cardstock at 1.5 inches. This is a scoring blade. I'm going to get that one out of the way. This is my scoring blade. All right, so this is at 1.5 inches. I'm going to bring my cutting blade up to the top. Now, we're going to make a slit in the paper, and what's important to notice is we have the measurements here, obviously. There are also measurements along here. This is the little flap that you lay down that holds your blade and your scoring blade. So there are measurements here, and what I have done, if I've placed a piece of Terran tape here, that way those numbers are easier to see because it's white behind it instead of clear. So if you're looking at your trimmer and it looks a little different, that's probably why. But what we're going to do is we're going to watch on this ruler, and we're going to look for the 3/4 inch mark, which is right there. That is going to line up with this little indentation on your blade. So when I'm ready, I'm going to bring that down until it's at the 3/4 inch mark, and I'm going to stop and go back up. All right, let's do it, and then it will make sense. All right, folded portion at the top up against the fence here. I have my left side at 1.5, and now I'm going to cut, and I'm going to come down only until I get to that 3/4 inch mark and then go back up. Now you can see the little slit that I made, and it didn't go all the way up. Let's just fix that. It might be because my scoring blade was in the way. Let's see if we got it now. Okay, so there is my slit. Now I'm going to take that same piece of white cardstock that we just made the first slit in. I'm going to slide it over to the 2 inch mark, and I'm going to do the same thing. Make a slit just down to the 3/4 inch mark. It's a little bit thick because it's folded, and back up, and we've made that slit. All right, now before you're done, we're going to take this and turn it, place it back into your trimmer. You're going to put this folded edge at the 3/4 inch mark. I'm going to move my cutting blade out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my scoring blade, and I'm just going to score between 1.5 and 2 inches. Back and forth. I'm just scoring between 1.5 and 2 inches. And what that is doing is putting a nice, neat score line right there. So this piece folds really nicely. You see that? All right, now, without making the score line, you could probably just fold it, but you would not have that crispness of the fold right there. So I think the little extra step, you already have your trimmer out, just go ahead and do that extra step. Okay, that's about as hard as this gets. So once again, when I open this, the short side is the bottom, the tall side is the top. This is going to become our little pop-up mechanism. So you can see what that looks like. And that's what we just created with our slits and our score line. Okay, at this point, we're going to do a little bit of the stamping. So let's go ahead with that. I'm going to use Melon Mambo, and I'm going to put some hot pink coral onto the inside of my card. I must have, this is Ocean Friends, if I didn't mention that. I must have this out somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pick up my Melon Mambo ink. I'm going to stamp one here, and then a second one without re-inking right next to it. You could even do another one if you want. Let me get a piece of scratch paper. This one is slightly different than the ones that I already made. I only did the two, but let's go ahead and put a third one just kind of right in here. All right, I like it. All right, now we're also going to put a greeting up here, but it's very important that you do a dry fit at this point, and I'm going to show you what I mean and how to do that. We're going to take this white piece, set it inside the pink piece, but not glue it in yet. The reason we're not going to glue it is if we make any mistakes on this white piece, we don't want to have to trash the whole thing. You can get rid of this white piece and get a new one and try again. So do not attach this to the pink part yet. Now, that other piece of Melon Mambo cardstock that we talked about is actually going to go up here at the top of the card. So what I want you to do is just hold it into place like so. Again, this is just a dry fit, nothing is glued. We're just going to hold it into place. This is so that we know right where our words need to be stamped. Without this little guide, you might accidentally stamp your words up here too high, and then they will end up being covered in the card. So this is going to give you a guide of where to stamp your words. Now I'm going to use Summer Splash and the words that say hello friend. Get a little sip of water there. My voice is getting croaky. All right. Now that I have my stamp out, I want to make sure that this is good again. This is settled but not glued. That little flap is going to go on the top like so. There's my guide. And now I can take hello friend and go ahead and stamp it, and I know right where it needs to go. Now, if you feel like this is a little bit cumbersome for your hands to hold it and figure all that out, you definitely could just make a pencil mark where this is going to be, and then get rid of all this, get it out of the way, and then stamp your words right under the pencil mark. I just didn't want to do that extra step and then have to erase the pencil mark. All right, so there's the stamping on the inside of the card. Now we need to talk about this little part that's going to pop up, and then we'll put the whole thing together. So what I did ahead of time is I went ahead and cut out this lovely die cut. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is one of the dies that coordinates with Ocean Friends. And I used Lemon Lime Twist. Here's the die. Okay, so I cut that out with Lemon Lime Twist. Then on a scrap of white cardstock, I stamped my little crab friend in Calypso Coral. Now this was two-step stamping, so I stamped the outline in Calypso Coral, and then I re-inked with Calypso Coral, stamped it off, and stamped inside my outline. Okay, so there's my little detail pieces. So we're going to build our little pop-up scene. And the first thing that I'm going to do is add some Wink of Stella onto this lovely coral. Okay, and I only want my little, what do we call it? Shimmer. My little shimmer kind of on the ends here. All right, I think that they might look kind of shimmery down there on the reef. I just ordered a new Wink of Stella because this one is just about giving up. All right, so just with some quick little brush strokes, you're gonna add your little bit of glimmer to the ends of those. Now I know in filming, like you can never really see Wink of Stella. Oh, see, I had to squeeze it a lot to get it going again. You can't really see it on camera, but in person you can. And if you are already a fan of Wink of Stella, then great, right? Join the club. And if you've not used Wink of Stella before, you absolutely have to add this to your next order. Next time that you go to my online store, add a Wink of Stella to your order. All right, so that has shimmer on the ends, and you will have to just trust me. Now I'm going to flip this over. You have two options. We're going to put some glue on here because this piece that we're working with is going to get attached to this piece that was already prepared. And so your options, I think, your two best options are either to add tiny little drops of your liquid glue in these spots, or if you have your silicone mat handy, like I have today, feel free to go ahead and use your Stampin' Seal, because you can kind of drag this and get adhesive on it, and any extra is not a problem because it's going to go on your silicone mat. All right, so I think that this is ultimately a little bit faster than putting little drops of glue everywhere. The only thing you have to be careful of is you don't want any of these gooey strings in between. So I just take my, take your pick tool and I make sure that there's no gooey strings stretched between points of the element, okay? So I'm gonna take that and now place it onto this piece that has that texture on it. And I know, because I made dozens of these, that this center point of my, I almost called it algae, of my coral is not going to be at the center of this. It needs to be over to the left a little bit. So I'm going to slide the center over to the left just a little bit. When we put this inside the card, you'll see why. All right, look how cute that is, and it gives the illusion that we are underwater with that there. Now let's grab our crab and adhesive of your choice. Go ahead and get him sticky. Just on the back of the body is fine. And then we're going to attach him as well. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like the crab needs beady little black eyes. And so I take a journaling marker and just add little pinpoint black beady eyes to my crabs. So you don't have to do that, but I feel like it makes the eyes stand out a little bit more. Okay, let's pull this piece in. I'm going to keep it on here like a dry fit, just so I can see where this project is headed. And this piece is now going to get attached right here to the front of our little pop out. It's going to get attached just like that. So you have options again. You can take your multi-purpose glue and put some on here. Okay, again, it's on the front part of that pop out, and then attach this. Or I was a little bit worried about the liquid glue maybe oozing out, even though I'm usually very careful. And I don't want any extra adhesive because I don't want it to accidentally stick my card together. So I'm choosing to use two very, very small pieces of tear and tape, really small. And I'm attaching them to the front of this little pop-up that we created. All right, can you see that? All right, there's one. Here's the second one. All right, so I'm using tear and tape for that step. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing of those two itty bitty pieces of tear and tape. And now I'm ready to attach this onto it. Now, the reason that I said I slid that lemon lime twist piece a little to the left is once you center this whole thing, you run the risk of, if you don't slide this over, you run the risk of your coral sticking out either on the right or the left. So that's what you have to keep in mind. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and lay this on here. I'm looking here and here to make sure that the green edges are not sticking out past the white edges. And I can press it into place. Okay, now I have that little pop-up portion secured. All right, at this point, we're going to, now that we're happy with this, we're going to go ahead and glue it into the Melon Mambo part, serving as our card base. So what I'm going to do is put my multi-purpose glue onto, this is the tall side. We're doing the top of the card, all right? So I'm putting my adhesive on there, staying away from the very, very edges, just so I don't have any that might ooze out. Now, when you do this fit, you want to stick the fold into the fold. That's your anchor point. So I'm sticking the fold into the fold. I'm looking at the right and the left pink borders to see if they're even. And then I can flatten the card down. Okay, the fold part is important, that it gets lined up with the fold of the pink piece. All right, now that it's in there, I can completely press it. Make sure that that is stuck. Okay, we've got it. Now it's no problem to go ahead and add glue here so that we can glue the bottom portion. Now let me tell you a little bit about this card design. We will be doing a card design that is a pop-up matchbook card in Club April of 2025. A totally different style, so not with ocean fringe and these colors. We're going to do a different card, but it is this design or layout. And so once that happens, then I'll also be doing a video of the club projects. So you'll get to see a different version of this card at that time. I don't know which one I'm going to put onto YouTube first, but they'll be coming out about the same time. So you can look for both of those. All right, there is our lovely inside of the card. It's so fantastic how that little element pops up. Now, I had mentioned about that summer splash piece. I needed an anchor for all my little pieces to attach to. If you were just putting a middle piece that pops up that was sturdy enough that it didn't need to be anchored to anything else, you could just attach your element to that little white pop-up part. So I think you can see the difference or imagine the difference of that. But I had these smaller elements that I wanted to be the pop-up, and I needed to anchor them to another piece. All right, so that's how that came to be. All right, let's take this little piece, which we played with before in our dry fit. I'm going to take the top of my card, flip it over, and put my adhesive there, whatever kind you prefer at this point. And that is going to fit snugly right up into the fold of this smaller piece of cardstock. And I'm sliding it over so it's even right and left. Here and here you want even, and you want the top right up in the fold. Okay, so that is now attached like so. All right, let's attach our designer series paper. We have that one strip that is going to go here. And we have a piece that's going to go here. See, at the end, it's like all downhill from here. Super fast and easy once you get that center of your card and all the mechanics of it going. All right, so I'm centering my designer series paper onto that front panel of my Melon Mambo cardstock. Like so, and look how cute that is. It's starting to come together, and there's our pop-up. All right, what we need to do next is secure this top portion, because this is called a matchbook fun fold, and so this is going to be sealed shut, and this part is how you are going to slide it open to reveal the pop-up. So let's work on this part next. I'm going to close this up tight with a piece of ribbon. And when I was making the cards for the thank you cards that I sent out, or I'm getting ready to send out, you saw the starter of the stack. Oh, now I could show you. I used different colors of ribbon. So I had some of this Serene Snowflake ribbon left from winter, and I loved the iridescent quality of that. So I used that on some of them. I grabbed an old retired kind of a greenish ribbon. I think this is Emerald Envy, but it kind of picked up the green in the card. So I used that on a few. And then I also have some pool party ribbon that I'm sure is retired, and that's what I'm going to use on the card that I'm making for you now. You might want to start with 24 inches of ribbon, especially if you're a little bit bow challenged. I am really confident using 20, let's see, I can do it in 22 inches. It's kind of like Name That Tune. I can name that tune in 6 notes. So I'm going to cut a 22-inch length of ribbon. Again, you might want to start with 24 inches. But because I've made bunches of these, I'm confident that I can do it with 22 inches. All right, take your length of ribbon, however long you started with, fold it in half and find the middle. Okay, here's the middle. I'm just finger creasing it so that I can find the middle. Now, what you're going to do is on the back of this little flap that we created, we're going to put a little bit of adhesive. At this point, I do not recommend your green glue, okay? Just put that away. We don't want that right now. You're either going to use your Stampin' Seal or you're going to use some tear and tape, either one. So what we want to do is just put a small portion right here in the middle, about that long. It's not even, I don't even think it's an inch long, an inch at the most. And we're going to take the center of our ribbon and we're just going to lay it right onto that adhesive, completely covering it. Okay, this should not be tacky at all because your ribbon is going to go right over the adhesive, and it doesn't matter if you used Stampin' Seal or tear and tape, it'll cover it. Okay, then close up the card, bring my ribbon ends to the front, and now I'm going to tie a bow. Most of the time I just use all of my fingers, they all get involved to tie a bow, but I am going to go ahead and use my reverse tweezers for now. Some of you are really good at using your reverse tweezers. I sometimes find that it doesn't hold very tight, even though I bought new ones that are supposed to be better. So you can use your reverse tweezers at this point to kind of hold the middle while you're tying your bow, or you can just awkwardly use all your fingers to hold it in place while you make a bow. All right, once I have my loops, I'm going to go ahead and get the tweezers out of the way, and then I can just fiddle with it and tighten it up how I want it. It actually kind of came out fine first go. So there's my loops. You can see that my tails are a little bit long, but I needed to have that in order to not be starting with too short of a piece. And there is our ribbon to finish this off. Oh my goodness, I am super excited about this matchbook pop-up or pop-up matchbook card. It's a great fun fold, and I plan to make a bunch of different ones, and you will for sure see a different one when you tune in April to my Stamp Club project video. All right, let's tuck that back in. Take a look. Of course, you could add embellishments to the front, but I kind of like it like this because all of the surprise is on the inside. And then, of course, you can add, if you like, some cute little images stamped to the envelope to make it super cute as it goes through the mail. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial today. If there's any questions that I can answer or information that you need, I'm happy to get back to you. Just email me or leave me a comment. And also remember about Wink of Stella, also Ocean Friends. If you don't have this bundle yet, make sure that you add that to your order the next time that you go to my online store and place your order. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy stamping!